Invisible sections to elevate walls. How do you do this in Revit? And why do you want to do this? Well, here's an example. I've got a cutaway here of a model. You can see there's a wall in there. Now you might like to elevate that wall to detail it, either to show the reinforcing detailing or perhaps other architectural reasons to show the finishes or the core buttons, etc., etc. There might be multiple reasons why you want to elevate a wall. I'll just pull that out there so you can see the whole model. Normally those type of walls are inside or the core in the middle of the building, so that one's in here. Now going over to our plan, so this is the wall I want to elevate. How do I do that? Well, if you did a normal section that comes out of the box, you probably get something like that with a head and a tail on each end, but you don't want to see that. Now you could elevate that wall and then hide the element, but that's not a great way of doing it because it's difficult to find it again, or you can lose track of all the things you've hidden. A better way is to make an invisible section cut. Now what I've created is one called wall elevations in the properties here, and I'll show you how this works. So wall elevations, I'm just going to switch over to that, and then I'm going to cut a section on that one. So if I just click from side to side and then flip it and then reduce the amount of view depth it has, you can see actually that's an invisible section cut to elevate a wall. How did I do that? Well, let's go to the view first. So that, as you can see, the elevations are pretty good. There's a few little tweaks there. I could have set that up better in the template. Have those on the other side, the level markers, but you can manually fix that by just clicking on the level line and clicking the ticks at the end. You could have some filters to turn off reference levels that you don't need. And of course in visibility graphics, which is the VG command, if you go down to walls, you can see I've got an override of a grey solid fill for the projection surface and the cut surface, just to make that visible, the outline of the wall. Because if you could imagine, if there was no shade there, it would be hard to tell where the wall started and stopped in some situations. So back to how did I create that invisible section cut? Well, let's click on the section, and I have like I said before, a properties called wall elevations. If we go edit on that, you can see that there's some of it I've just completely ignored, like call out tag and reference label I'm not really using. Now I do have the new view linked to a view template called wall elevation, which has those changes that you saw with the shade in there. Now that's not essential, you can apply that post, but it does make it for speedier wall elevations if you've got a view template applied over. So the section tag is blank. That's what I've called it, blank. And if I edit on that, you can see that the section head and tail is called section head blank, section head blank, colon blank. This is what happens when you do stuff yourself. And then the section tail is blank, and then you've got some options here and what happens when you break the section. So let's just look at these two. So these two are first, of course, families that I've created, and that's why they're oddly named. We go into our family section, and I just search for blank, probably be the quickest way to find it. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Can't even see where we are at the moment. Just go, might have just pulled that off too far. Just start that again. Okay, that's better, I can see it now. Section head blank, you can see that one there, and there'll be one down here further that says section tail blank. So that's why it was section head blank colon blank, because it was using that one and then that one. So let's edit this so you can see what the family is like that makes up that. So basically it's just a little tag, and it's on the invisible lines category. So that's the section head and section tail. It's a bit clunky, isn't it? But this is the way Revit works. So that creates those two little bits at the end here. Now the bit in between is the line, the section line. How do you make that invisible? Well, if I go to object styles, annotation objects, you've got something here called section line. Now I've got that as white because I've got a white background, so that's going to be invisible. And I've got a line style called long dots. So there's not much of it there. It is got one line thickness and it is white, so it could wipe out or slightly diminished line work. So I often do that. So there you can see just the long dots there. Now that's not causing any issues, but you can also just hit that little break line there and then move the points right over to the ends, and then it's really, really invisible. So that's how I do invisible section cuts on the plan. They stay on the plan so I can go back to them later. Because if I hover over here, see there's another one, and then I can go right click, go to view, and this one's actually got some of the matte on the drawing of the reinforcement. So that's how I do invisible section cuts and wall elevations in Revit.